and namaste. Accuracy, balance, credibility. This is ABC News and I am Pratibha Paudel in this ABC Discourse program. It is our commitment to investigate and present real and factual news. All the public-related affairs will be our subject to deal with. It is our continuous effort to present exclusive and authentic news and views. Today, we are having an indirect interview with Chinese ambassador to Nepal, Mrs. Hou Yanqi. She was born in Shanxi province in March 1978. She is married with one son. She has done Masters of Art in Chinese University. She looks really attractive. There is an intimate relationship between Nepal and People's Republic of China. China is about 66 times bigger than Nepal. This neighboring country has become a very good friend of ours and it has helped in many sectors including health, business, education, infrastructure development and so on. As we know that infection of coronavirus COVID-19 started from China, however, it has been able to defeat this pandemic in a very short period of time. COVID is almost reduced for the country and it is really praiseworthy. And in this conversation, we will focus these kinds of issues here. Your Excellency, I would like to cordially welcome you in this ABC Discourse program. Your Excellency, China has won the battle against COVID-19 by adopting the most comprehensive and rigorous prevention and control measures. Would you please explain the modalities as well as prevention measures adopted by Chinese government to defeat the pandemic situation?
Under the command and guidance of President Xi Jinping, we concentrated superior resources and mobilized all the government organizations and party members to join in the battle. We implemented strict nationwide control measures, put together medical resources, and extended adequate financial support to fight against COVID-19. For example, more than 330 medical teams consisting of some 41,600 medical personnel were dispatched to Hubei province from different places across the country. The Hoshinshan and the Leishanshan hospitals were swiftly built and started operation in Wuhan within 2 weeks. Governments at all levels have allocated more than 100 billion yuan to fight against the pandemic. We also did our best to treat cases and raise people's awareness of fending off the virus, accelerate scientific research, and deepen international cooperation in the spirit of a community of shared future for mankind. Up to now, 78,249 patients have been cured. During the entire process, we insisted on working in an open, transparent manner and timely clarify the rumors. Also, I'd like to say the battle against COVID-19 has not finished yet. Even though the spread of the pandemic in China has been generally contained, we are still facing severe challenges of preventing imported cases. Today, we will continue to adopt strict measures to curb imported cases.
Now, Nepal has entered into second stage of pandemic spread, and you know our public health system is poor in comparison to China. In this response, what are the best things that Nepal can learn from China's experience on pandemic control?
I'm not an expert on pandemic control, but I'm willing to share some experience in China's fight against the pandemic. Firstly, improving virus testing, isolation and tracing. It should be strict in implementing the policies of early detection, early reporting, early isolation and early treatment. Immediate trace on close contacts and testing all who need to be tested. Hospitalization of all who need to be hospitalized. Isolating and treating all who need to be isolated and treated. Secondly, differentiate risk levels. based on pandemic situation to declare different risk levels on different areas, from low to medium to high, and implemented differentiated and region-specific measures of prevention and control to manage the movement of people. Thirdly, ensuring medical supply. Medical supplies and daily necessities should be guaranteed. Illegal acts such as price gouging and the making and the selling of fake products should be strictly investigated and severely punished. Fourthly, hospital is quite important. The medical workers should be well protected because they are on the front line of the battle. The fifth, timely release of information. Making sure the public is fully informed is key to establishing strong social consensus. Timely data should be released by authorities in an open, transparent, and responsible manner to provide people with dynamic, clear, and important information. Rumors should also be dispelled timely. So here I would like to introduce two books. One is China's Battle Against Coronavirus, Daily Log. The other is Stories of Courage and Determination, Wuhan in Coronavirus Lockdown. I think these books are in Nepalese, so which will help people to know the reality of the Chinese people's sacrifice in the battle.
Thank you for your suggestions. Your Excellency, how do you assess the policies, programs and activities undertaken by Nepal government to control the pandemic situation?
We noticed that the measures of nationwide lockdown and suspension of international commercial flights undertaken by the Nepali government have played a vital role in containing the pandemic and achieved results. Now the situation of pandemic in the south part of Nepal is getting increasingly serious. It is not time to relax. It is my suggestion that the Nepali government continue with strict policy, and Kathmandu is the center of Nepal. The movement of people should be strictly controlled. The management of the southern border, the hospital or community where found the confirmed cases and its surrounding areas, isolation measures should be strengthened to prevent more transmission.
Your Excellency, you, in the meeting with ministers of Nepal government, always put stress on the necessity of Nepal in control of the virus and express the willingness of the Chinese government to cooperate Nepal in medical equipment, protective suits, as well as health professionals regarding the control of pandemic. Have you received any specific requests from Nepali side? Would you please elaborate it?
In the early stage of the pandemic, we have received requests on cooperation, including medical material requirement and experience sharing from the Nepali government. We can understand that the Nepali government put the health and the safety of Nepali people in most urgent and priority and coordinated and responded as soon as possible. As you know, the Chinese government, army, some provinces like Sichuan, Yunnan, Shanxi, Gansu, and Xizang, some enterprises and NGOs, the Department of Asian Affairs of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China, and our embassy have donated several batches of medical materials, including 1.51 million medical masks, 162,000 N95 masks, 80,000 testing kits, more than 35,000 PPE and extra. In order to meet Nepal's demand for medical materials, the Chinese side has also introduced China's Sinopharm International Corporation, which is the largest and strongest pharmaceutical company in China, to sign an agreement with the Nepali side to provide medical materials. Besides, we have also reopened Jammu-Tatpani border point to assist Nepali side to import medical logistics and daily necessities at the request of the Nepali side. Regarding experience sharing, we have organized 4 video conferences for doctors and experts from both sides to share the information and experience on pandemic prevention and control, clinical diagnosis and treatment, customs, quarantine, and so on. The Nepalese side highly appreciated them and considered them timely and effectively.
Your Excellency, there are some rumors about quality problems of few medical supplies from China. Would you please clarify this?
On this issue, I have some points to share with you. Firstly, it's quite normal that different countries have different standards of medical materials. Secondly, the correct use and proper preservation and transportation of medical materials should be strictly obeyed. Otherwise, it will cause unpredictable problems. Thirdly, in the beginning of global outbreak, countries almost all over the world rushed into Chinese market to purchase medical materials urgently. Some of the Chinese companies which they contacted with didn't have export qualification. Even the buyers acknowledged about that. Fourthly, China attaches great importance to supervise the quality of export medical materials. Now the Chinese authorities have introduced more strict regulatory measures that export companies of medical materials need to state in written form upon customs clearance that their products have valid registration certificate for medical devices and products and meet the quality standards of their destination. Fifth, some Western countries politicize the so-called quality issue of Chinese products, which was irresponsible and undesirable.
Your Excellency, the economy of China was hit strongly by the pandemic in the first quarter of this year. Would you please introduce the economic situation of China?
The COVID-19 pandemic constituted a huge challenge to China's economy, and the GDP in the first quarter of this year fell 6.8% year-on-year. China is really facing the challenge to achieve the goal of eliminating absolute poverty by this year. But still, there are some highlights which we feel optimistic. The resumption of work, production, and business in China has sped up. The overall employment situation is stable. The supply of agricultural products and the basic livelihood of people are guaranteed. The financial market remains stable, and the new engines of growth is growing fast, and the expectation of business has improved. This is a tough year for the whole world, not only for China. Currently, the highest priority is to contain the pandemic. In the day of globalization, no country can stay safe alone. Only when we win the battle against the pandemic, the world economy could be recovered entirely. We should get rid of prejudice, build the trust each other, together fight against the pandemic, and bring back the normal social and economic life of the world.
It seems that China's economy has almost recovered from the pandemic, but the developing countries like Nepal still suffer from the long-lasting economic impact of the pandemic. Under these circumstances, what kind of economic cooperation can China provide in Nepal?
As I have mentioned, the highest priority currently is to contain the pandemic. So we will do our best to help Nepal contain the pandemic. This is very crucial to Nepal's economy. After the pandemic is contained, we will encourage Chinese enterprises in Nepal to resume work and accelerate the projects. We also hope the Nepali government to issue some preferential policies to stimulate the economy and help Chinese enterprises. We are considering to share our experience of economic development in the post-pandemic time with our friendly countries, including Nepal, under the framework of BRI. Besides, China recently joined the G20 initiative to support a suspension of debt service payments for the poorest countries, which frees both principal repayments and interest payments for these countries from May 1st, 2020 to the end of this year. We will strengthen communication and cooperation with all sides, including Nepal, to implement follow-up measures on this initiative.
Your Excellency, all the countries in South Asia are facing the challenge of the pandemic. In which aspect that China can cooperate with SAARC?
China is a neighboring country of mutual assistance and solidarity to South Asia and the observer of SAARC. Since the outbreak of the pandemic, China has continued to uphold the vision of a community with a shared future for mankind and stayed in close cooperation and shared information on prevention and control with the SAARC countries. We have provided medical materials assistance to most of the South Asian countries to the best of our ability. We sent several medical teams to this region and held online video conferences with South Asian countries bilaterally or multilaterally. Nowadays, the pandemic in South Asia is increasing rapidly and all the countries is under great pressure, and all the countries in the region have adopted strict prevention and control measures. China will continue to make full use of various resources and channels to stay in close cooperation with all member countries, and we will continuously support SAARC Secretariat to play its role.
Your Excellency, some countries made a series of groundless accusations over the origin of COVID-19. Some politicians claim there is significant evidence that the virus started in the Chinese lab. What is your opinion on this allegation?
It is a common consensus in the international community that the origin of the virus is a scientific and professional matter that should be addressed by scientists and experts in disease control. China was the first country to report novel coronavirus infected cases, but it is entirely groundless to accuse China of the origin of the novel coronavirus. Some Western countries are spreading rumors and wrong information. This infodemic is slur on the achievement of China's fight against the pandemic. It is slur on the sacrifice of the Chinese people, and it is also slur on the international cooperation actively conducted by China to fight against the pandemic. Finally, we believe that most countries will not follow these Western countries. We hope all countries can put the safety of people's lives and health at top priority, safeguard the authority of WHO, focus on fighting the pandemic, and work hand in hand to win the battle.
Your Excellency, you always say a friend in need is a friend indeed, and China is our best friend forever. So in this adverse situation, what message you like to give to the Nepalese people?
I would like to say, friend in need is friend indeed. Hope and confidence are more precious than gold. We appreciate that the solidarity Nepali people showed toward Chinese people when we were in difficult times. COVID-19 pandemic is a disaster and a challenge to the global health governance, but it is not unbeatable. I believe that with the efforts of the Nepali government and people, with the help of China and other friendly countries, the pandemic in Nepal will be controlled successfully. The Chinese people will always stand with the Nepali people. Let's fight side by side and win this battle together.
Thank you so much for providing these details. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much. Now we have come to the end of this discourse program. I will come with other interesting facts and information on the same day, same time and same channel. Keep watching ABC News. Namaste, goodbye and have a good time. Thank you.